Hello, Year 8. I hope you're well. This is my first attempt at trying to teach you without being in front of you, teaching you in the class. I'm going to go through. In the event there's any confusion, then please let me know. I probably won't be making videos for every single thing that we do. It's likely that I will guide you to where the videos are and you'll have to watch those beforehand. But here we go for this one. Okay, so looking at this first equation, solve negative t equals 15. Okay, so this is a bit weird because it says negative t. If I think about it, what's in front, what's the coefficient of this t? It would be negative 1. So this is equivalent to negative 1t, excuse my handwriting, trying to draw it with a mouse, equals 15. So I ask myself, what's happening to t? It's being multiplied by negative 1. Therefore, I divide by negative 1. Whatever I do on one side, I do on the other. That's going to leave me with negative 1 and negative 1 cancel, leaving me with t. Positive 15 divided by negative 1 is negative 15. Okay. Now what I'd like you to do is pause the video here and attempt these two questions for me. When you've unpaused though, we'll just go through the answers. Okay, so again, I could, if I wanted to, write negative 1 in front of this, or if we've remembered that, I'm simply going to divide by negative 1 to start with. So divide by negative 1 here, and divide by negative 1 here. That's going to leave me with y, because if we think about it, the negative 1 is the coefficient, and the negative 1 here will cancel, and negative 1 divided by negative 1 is positive 1. And 20 divided by negative 1 is negative 20. The next one. This time I've just changed the format slightly, so the negative y is on this side, but my same process will apply. If I divide by negative 1 here, whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. That's going to leave me with a positive y on this side. Now I've changed it slightly. Negative 21 divided by negative 1, negative divided by negative will give me positive 21, which we can write either as 21 equals y or y equals 21. Okay. Next one. Now we've got a couple of steps involved in this equation. Different ways in which we could approach it, but the method that we've talked about previously is very similar to this. If we have a positive 5 here, so if I think about what's happening to t, let's cover all these things up. T is being multiplied by negative 1, then there's a positive 5 being added to it here, then I've got equals 15. Right, steps. I'm unpacking BIDMAS, so the first thing I'll do is look at this positive 5, and I'll take away 5 here. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. That's going to leave me with, these now cancel, negative t equals 15 take away 5 is 10. Same process as we did before. If we're getting confused, let's write that as negative 1t. If you're confident, you don't have to. Equals 10. Then divide by the coefficient. The same on this side, I'm going to get positive t equals 10 divided by negative 1 is, that's a terrible equal sign, equals negative 10. Now, what I wanted to show you was that this, if we think about it, is actually exactly the same equation, but all I've done, this negative t has gone first here, and the positive 5 is happening afterwards. So, in order to solve it, I would do exactly the same process. I would take away 5 on one side, on the other, cancel, negative t, therefore equals 15 take away 5 is positive 10, divide by the coefficient which we know is negative 1, whatever we do on one side, we do on the other. That's going to leave me with t equals 10 divided by negative 1 is negative 10. Okay, Now I'd pause the video and just have a go at these two yourselves. Then we'll have a look at this one here. So first one, I have this positive 3 is what I'm going to deal with first, apologies. Even though this is negative here, it doesn't matter because this is positive 3. Positive 3. How do I get rid of that positive 3? I'll subtract 3. Whatever I do on one side, I do on the other. That leaves me with negative y equals 18 minus 3 is 15. My coefficient of y is negative 1, so I'll divide by negative 1 here. Whatever happens to one side happens to the other. That's going to leave me with positive y equals 15 divided by negative 1 is negative 15. Now, this other one, I've tried to trick you a little bit, so hopefully we didn't fall for it. I've got negative y plus 3 equals negative 18 this time. Okay, right, so I've got positive 3, take away 3 on one side, take away 3 on the other. That's going to leave me with just negative y here, because these are going to cancel, remember, equals negative 18, take away 3. So negative 18 down another 3 will give me minus 21, or negative 21. Then my coefficient here is negative 1, so divide by negative 1 here, divide by negative 1 here. That's going to leave me with positive y equals negative 21 divided by negative 1 is positive 21, and we're done. Next questions we've touched on before, so hopefully we should find this relatively straightforward. Is this pretty much the same concept as we had before, but this time, instead of it being sort of confusing what the coefficient here is, we know that it's negative 2. So I'm going to divide by negative 2 here, divide by negative 2 here. That's going to give me t equals 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. Done. Don't think we need to go over those in hindsight, guys. So I think I'm probably going to leave those, but feel free to try. Then the last ones are essentially the two-step equations. I'll cover this one up just for a second. I'll have a look what's going on. So we've got negative t is being multiplied by negative 2, then I add 4. So we're following BIDMAS. Last thing we said was add 4, so I'm going to subtract 4 on one side, subtract 4 on the other. That's going to leave me with minus 2t. These now cancel, equals 12 take away 4 is 8. Divide by my coefficient. Divide by my coefficient here. That's going to leave me with t equals 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. Just so we're clear, this is exactly the same question, but we've reorganized the 4 and the minus 2t. So the first thing I would do, just as I did before, was say take away 4 here, take away 4 here. That's going to leave me with minus 2t equals 8. And if I do this correctly, I know that should be my answer, so let's just double check that that is the case. Divide by minus 2. Whatever happens on one side happens to the other. Leaves me with t equals, these obviously cancel, 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. Okay, now if you could continue, work through the questions that I've detailed on Show My Homework, so you're familiar with solving equations with negative coefficients. Please email me with any questions and I can contact you and try and help you. Hope you're keeping well, guys. Speak to you soon. Bye.